you're looking for a show that romanticizes criminals, you won't find anything better than La Casa de Papel. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. We're talking about a Netflix show which was a worldwide phenomenon in the past years. I've finally checked out, it was obviously on my radar, among other things because my stepson actually loves this show, which I can't quite understand because I suppose it's got to do with the imagery and it's cool, and obviously, you know, crime is always exciting, and if you've got cool criminals that'll be very, obviously very popular with impressionable teenagers. But yes, so we're talking about La Casa de Papel, which is a Spanish TV show that translates to the House of Paper. They're referring to money. In English, it's called Money Heist for unknown reasons. It's one of these typical instances where they just choose a really, really boring translation of the name. And it isn't even a translation, you know, they just give it a title. I know this the other way around. I know it in German. Usually an English title will get a really, really bad German one. But this is a different case. I mean, even the German version is, the title they've got is The House of Money. You know, it's not the House of Paper, it's the House of Money, but still better than Money Heist, which is the most generic name you can think of. Luckily, people focused on the show and not the name, you know, and it was a huge global success. I believe to this day, it's one of the most popular Netflix shows. I absolutely get why. It's actually really interesting when you look at it because it's got 5 parts, by the way, on Netflix. The first 2 actually aired on Spanish national TV. So this wasn't a Netflix thing, the first 2. I didn't know that, see, I thought it was just Netflix throughout. The first 2 were there. It was kind of just mildly popular, which I find really, really interesting because I would expect that it was even a great phenomenon, you know, really popular in Spain, obviously not. Netflix acquired the distribution rights, they showed it worldwide, it just, you know, soared in popularity, and then they decided to make an extra 3, of course, to cash in on their investment, I suppose. Yes, so it's I didn't know that before watching, but they've got a sort of documentary that's also available on Netflix. I watched that and I found out through that. So I found that really interesting because I will say that the production values, I couldn't tell a difference. Obviously, I mean, you can see, yes, when you think about it, series 3 through 5 obviously had a much bigger budget because there's just a lot more going on. But you could, you know, you could put that down to it was popular, so obviously they put more money into it. But the first 2 also look incredible, and they also obviously had a lot of money put into them. So you can't tell a difference, also because the same people were involved. So, what is it actually about? So, obviously you can tell it's a lot to do with money. We've got 2 distinct stories, I'll call it. The first and second part, they deal with a heist at the Royal Mint in Spain, where they print all the Euro banknotes. We've got this gang of people, they enter, take over the mint, and they've got hostages there. And during their duration of stay, they are printing their own bills. Obviously untraceable, they look like just normal bills. That is basically what's happening. Obviously the police is trying to resolve the hostage situation, trying to get in, trying to get them out, and, you know, just stop them from their robbery. And the second story that goes from episode 3 to 5 has got to do with them trying to rob 90 tons of gold from the Royal Reserve, the Spanish bank, you know, the Bank of Spain. That's their federal gold reserve. That's what they are stealing. That's the most basic thing, so it is a very traditional heist. So I think why people are fascinated by it. I also thought it was really good. To me, it's got a same kind of quality like Ocean's 11. So you've got a gang of cool people who you like, you know, who are interesting, and yeah, so you're rooting for them in a way. You know, obviously they're criminals, they're doing something bad, and people are getting hurt, but you know, you root for them because they're quite cool people, and that is one thing that they've done really well here. It's also just the symbolism. I mean, the red jumpsuits and a Dali mask. I mean, even I saw that everywhere, although I haven't watched the show at all. And I think it's just really cool to have something Spanish, because the last Spanish thing I watched, or at least Spanish speaking thing I watched, was Narcos. So it's been quite a while. I'm very happy about this. I like Spanish, I love the sound of it. I even started a few years back, I started learning it with an app on my phone. Stopped doing it, unfortunately. But I really like the sound of the language. So it was really cool to have a show that was so good and also hear Spanish all the time. Yeah, it's just cool. And I suppose that also helped with their success, because you don't have that many really big shows that are, you know, made by Spanish speaking people. So obviously this is something that a lot of people were drawn to who come from those areas. You know, you have maybe Mediterranean Europe and Southern Europe and obviously South America. So yeah, that's why I expect it was a global hit, also because it just really is very good. We've got this gang of criminals there led by a man called the Professor. He is played by Alvaro Morte. By the way, if I pronounce any of these names wrong, I'm sorry. I'm not used to pronouncing Spanish names, which is exciting that I now finally get to do it. And he's neurotic even, I would say. So he plans it. He's been planning this basically all his life, you know, to the tiniest T. Everything, every detail is thought of. They're 3 steps ahead of the police. You know, they have already thought of what the possible outcome of each situation is, and you know, they're doing preemptive strikes and all these things. That's what's really exciting to me. I love shows that you know, where they treat their audiences with intelligence, you know, because all the things that are happening are really intelligent and good. Yeah, it's just exciting to watch because everything's so well thought of, etc. And so he has got this gang of people, and a simple thing that is really cool as well, they're all being told they're not supposed to share any personal details, so that if one of them gets caught, they can't obviously snitch on anyone else. And one of the reasons, or one of the things they do to, you know, help avoid this is just give them new names, and they've all got their city names. So we are actually focused on one woman. Her name in the show is Tokyo. She is played by Ursula Corbero, and she is a narrator as well. So she actually narrates a lot in the story for us. We've got flashbacks where we see how they prepared for all this, and obviously we are quite focused on her and her story. But we've got, you know, we've got other names. We've got Denver, we've got Moscow, we've got Helsinki, we've got Berlin. He is in the Royal Mint. The Professor, actually, he stays on the outside, so he's coordinating everything from out there, negotiating with the police, all these kind of things. And inside, Berlin is our main man. He sort of leads the troop. He is played by Pedro Alonso. He's this really cool guy. He's very suave and everything. I mean, we learn as the show goes on, he's not the nicest guy, you know, so he's got a lot of flaws. But at the start, you know, you think he's really cool, and he's like the perfect Latino guy, you know. It's exactly that temperament that you expect, you know, as a cliche, I'll call it. He, I would assume, is many people's favourite characters, just because he's just got so much style around his person, just how he conducts himself and talks to people, and always very theatrical, you know, in his talks with hostages and other people. While this is a heist film, there's a lot of personal drama that we are focused on between all the members of the gang, and that is also what makes it very, very interesting, and that continues on throughout the whole show. There's a lot of money being put into this, so it looks great. You know, we're inside, but we've got guns and we've got action. There's a lot of action, of course, and yeah, just police and just so many props and all sorts of stuff going on. There's so much money being invested into it, and it is great because they just have a great balance of action. The action is really good, you know, when it kicks off. You know, everything's happening really, really fast, and it gets really exciting. And then we also have these moments where we're just focused on the characters that work so well too. The whole thing certainly would not work without these great actors that we've got here. So not only the Professor is a really fascinating character, you've also got on the other side the negotiator. It's a detective. Her name is Raquel Murillo in the show. She is played by Itziar Ituño, and they have an excellent back and forth, which is really cool. And yeah, it's just exciting. It's just it's like they're trying to do their utmost to just not have a boring show. But you've got so many other actors, I'm not going to name them all because they're all great, you know, and they make this show just really interesting. I only have one criticism of it, which is that this is throughout the whole show, whether it's the first thing about the Royal Mint or the second thing about the Bank of Spain. It's really stupid how we get into situations. So as I mentioned, everything's planned to a T, everything is perfectly planned, And the only reason that things happen is because someone does something that goes against the plan. You know, and that just frustrates me, because I'm thinking, couldn't they have done something that is just you know, treats you more? I know I mentioned before that the show treats us intelligently, and for the majority it does. Just whenever we have an inciting incident where something happens, it's usually something really, really stupid that somebody does, even including the professor, this neurotic guy who's always about the plan and follow the plan, you know, and all these things. And even he does really, really, really stupid things. And that frustrated me. But what results from it are usually quite cool scenes and interesting action and other things, so you know, they do kind of make up for it. But yeah, that's the only thing. Even the second part with the Bank of Spain, the reason, you know, they give you as to why they're doing it is so stupid. Because from the start it sounds like a suicide mission, and why would you do it? And the reason is just not really good. I'll be honest. But it's really good what we have there. And at times, the second part with the Bank of Spain, it does feel a bit like a repeat from the first thing, just that they've added on more action and more insanity. And that's great. You know, when it happens, it's like you're thinking, how are they going to resolve this? What on earth is going to happen next? You know, it works. But at times, I would understand if people are like, this is just more of the same, you know. So yeah, that is a bit strange. But I get that it was popular, they wanted to make more, of course, and so yeah. I suppose there's only so much you can do, because it's more or less the same thing happening again, just in a different place, but with more budget and more people involved and more police and crazier situations and people and all these things. But it's great, and you've also got a lot of hostage interactions, and you've got hostages that you know, want to be a hero, and they do stupid things. You've got one guy in particular who you just love to hate. I was really, throughout the whole show, I was like, can somebody please shut up this guy? I mean, he did his job well, because that, I suppose, is his role. The character's name is Arturo Roman, and he's played by Enrique Arce, or Arce, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Yeah, a guy you love to hate, and I certainly did. I think if you watch the show, everyone will find something they will really like, but probably it'll most likely be the characters, but just because they are very likable, and there's a lot of emotions going on. Incredible acting, so I really hope that all these actors, you know, that they get more and more jobs, just throughout the film industry, you know, because I think they really did a great job here. So if you're looking for a new show to watch and haven't seen this yet, you like sort of crime things, heist films and all these things, definitely watch this. It gets really exciting at various points really fast, and yeah, just overall a really, really good show. They're doing a new one. They've got a sort of spin-off that is set in Korea, which is called Joint Economic Area. I think something like Money Heist Joint Economic Area. I'm going to check that out as well, probably talk about it in just a roundup video at some point. I like Korea, I like this concept, this show, so I'm assuming that meshing them together should be perfect for me. We'll see, I'll let you know once I've seen it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It's the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything I've mentioned, whether you've seen it, want to see it, what do you think of it, do you have something similar that you would recommend or so. Any of that down in the comments below. I'll thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video on Flying Wiener. Take care, bye.